Here's the thing about being invisible. People forget you're even there. And when they forget you're there, they say things. Real things. True things. Dangerous things. That's what happened the night Mio Son walked into the Imperial Reserve. He thought she was just a waitress. Just another face in a black uniform, there to serve and disappear. So when he humiliated her in front of his investors, when he mocked her in Japanese, calling her trash, calling her stupid, saying things he'd never dare say in English, he had no idea she understood every single word. He had no idea she used to translate for presidents and prime ministers. He had no idea she spoke 7 languages. And he definitely had no idea that she knew every lie he just told those men about his $2.3 billion deal. What happened next? She responded in flawless Japanese. She exposed every scheme. She destroyed his reputation in less than a minute. And she did it all without raising her voice. This is a story of the night Wendy Williams stopped being invisible. Welcome back to Tales. While you're here, please hit the subscribe button and comment your view on the story and where you're watching from. You know, there's something about being underestimated that reveals who people really are. When they think you can't understand them, when they think you're beneath them, when they think you're nobody. My name is Wendy Williams, and for 11 months, I let powerful people believe I was nobody. I worked at the Imperial Reserve in downtown Washington, D.C., the kind of restaurant you probably never heard of unless you have 6 figures in your bank account and a senator on speed dial. This wasn't a place where families celebrated birthdays or couples came for anniversaries. This was where billion-dollar deals got closed over $400 steaks, where lobbyists wined and dined politicians, where power brokers spoke in hushed tones about policies that would never make the evening news. The marble floors gleamed under crystal chandeliers that cost more than most people's cars. The wine cellar held bottles older than I was. And the dress code for servers? Black uniform. Hair pulled back tight. Smile polite, but not too friendly. Speak only when spoken to. Be invisible. And I was very, very good at being invisible. I was 29 years old, but I felt ancient. Life is a way of aging you when you've lost everything that mattered. When the career you sacrificed, everything gets ripped away because you told the truth. When your name, your reputation, gets dragged to the mud by people with more power and better lawyers. For 11 months, I poured water into crystal glasses. I cleared plates of food that cost more than my weekly paycheck. I smiled at people who never once looked me in the eye. I listened to conversations in 6 different languages and pretended I didn't understand a single word. I became a ghost in my own life. Invisible, forgettable, safe, until the night Mio Son walked through those doors, and my carefully constructed world of silence shattered in ways I never saw coming. But I wasn't always like this. There was a time when invisibility would have been impossible for me. A time when my voice mattered, when people listened, when I had a career that demanded I be seen, heard, and trusted with secrets that could start wars. Let me tell you how I went from translating for presidents to serving water to billionaires. Let me tell you what happens when you speak truth to power, and why I spent 11 months trying to disappear. Because understanding where I came from is the only way you'll understand why what I did that night mattered. Why I finally stopped hiding. And why Mio Son never saw me coming. I used to be a State Department interpreter. Not the kind who works at tourist centers or translates restaurant menus. I had top security clearance. The kind that gets you into rooms where presidents speak to foreign leaders. Where one wrong word, one mistranslation, one misunderstood phrase could trigger international incidents or collapse treaties worth billions. I spoke 7 languages fluently. Japanese, Mandarin, Korean, Arabic, French, Russian, and English. I worked international summits in Geneva, Tokyo, Dubai. I sat in on negotiations where the fate of entire regions hung on precise communication. Diplomats trusted me. Governments relied on me. I was good at my job. Maybe too good. Because one day, I translated conversation I wasn't supposed to hear. A U.S. official and a foreign defense contractor. They thought I'd stepped out of the room. They were speaking in Arabic, discussing bribes, weapons deals, kickbacks that would line pockets while soldiers went without proper equipment. Numbers that made my stomach turn. Names I recognized from news reports. I did what I thought was right. I reported it. And that's when I learned that doing the right thing doesn't always protect you. They called it a misunderstanding. Said I misinterpreted cultural context. Suggested I pursue other opportunities. Translation: shut up or your career is over. I didn't shut up, so they destroyed me. No government agency would touch me after that. No embassy would hire me. My reputation, 15 years of impeccable service, was shredded by people with more power and better lawyers. They made sure everyone knew I was unreliable, prone to exaggeration, a risk to sensitive operations. I became a waitress not because I couldn't do anything else, but because I needed to disappear. I needed to be somewhere nobody asked about my past, somewhere nobody cared who I used to be. For 11 months, I poured water, cleared plates, smiled at people who never saw me. I listened conversations in 6 different languages and pretended I didn't understand a word. I became a ghost in my own life. But invisibility has a shelf life, and mine was about to expire. It started with an afternoon briefing. Our manager, Richard, a man who prided himself on never showing emotion, gathered the entire staff in the kitchen at 4 p.m. His hands were shaking. That's how I knew this wasn't just another VIP dinner. "We have a very important guest tonight," he said, his voice tight. "Mio Son, Japanese tech billionaire. He's in Washington to close a massive government deal, and he's bringing investors. Everything, and I mean everything, must be perfect tonight." I'd heard the name before. Everyone in DC had. Mio Son, self-made, ruthless, the kind of man who built empires by crushing competitors and buying politicians. He owned semiconductor factories across Asia, data centers in 3 countries, enough AI patents to control half the industry's future. Richard's eyes swept across us. "Do not speak unless spoken to. Do not make eye contact. Do not screw this up. Is that clear?" We nodded. At 7:15 p.m., Mio Son walked through the front doors. Tall, expensive suit that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Cold eyes that swept the room like he was calculating its value. He moved with the kind of confidence that comes from never being told no. Behind him, 2 American investors in tailored suits, faces eager, hungry for whatever deal he was offering, and a young Japanese assistant who looked absolutely terrified. They were seated at the center table under the main chandelier, the best table in the house. The table that didn't just say, "I'm important." It screamed asterisk, "I own this room." Asterisk, the entire restaurant shifted. Conversations dropped to whispers. Staff moved faster, more carefully. You could feel the tension like static electricity in the air. I watched from the kitchen doorway, keeping my distance. Something about him made my instincts scream. Something cold. Something dangerous. Thank God I wasn't assigned to his table. I told myself I was safe. I told myself I could stay invisible. I was wrong. I stayed in my section. A quiet couple celebrating their 30th anniversary. 2 business partners negotiating over wine. A senator's aide dining alone, typing furiously on her phone between courses. But Mio Son's voice carried across the dining room like he wanted everyone to hear him. He spoke in English, loud, confident, commanding. Every few minutes, he'd lean toward his assistant and switch to rapid Japanese. The American investors would smile politely and nod, understanding nothing. But I understood everything, and what I heard made my blood run cold. In English, he was selling them a dream. "All components will be American-made," he said, gesturing with his wine glass. "We're committed to ethical labor practices, the highest quality standards. This isn't just a contract. It's a partnership built on trust." The investors beamed. One of them raised his glass in a toast. Then Mio Son turned to his assistant and switched to Japanese. Asterisk Kiyaku o Tatera, Chigoku no Kojo o Tsuka, Kasuro o 40, Paseno Sakujin Suru, Kara wa Chigai nai Kazukani, Baka na Amerikajin wa Purisu Ririsu Shika Kinanai. Asterisk. Translation. Asterisk. Once we get the contract, we'll use the Chinese factories. Cut costs by 40%. They'll never know the difference. Stupid Americans only care about the press release. Asterisk. My hand froze on the water pitcher I was holding. He continued in Japanese. False safety certifications. Inflated production timelines. Quality controls that didn't exist. He was scamming them out of billions. And investors? They were laughing, shaking his hand, completely oblivious. I stood there, my heart pounding, watching a fraud unfold in real time. What could I do? I was just a waitress. The last time I spoke up, I lost everything. I told myself to stay quiet, to stay invisible, to let it happen. If you've ever been in a position where you knew the truth but felt powerless to speak it, you understand what I felt in that moment. Sometimes staying silent feels safer than facing the consequences of honesty. But silence has its own cost, and I was about to learn that lesson all over again, asterisk, asterisk. Wendy. Marcus appeared beside me near the kitchen entrance, moving fast. His face was pale, his hands shaking. There was a dark sauce stain spreading across his white shirt. I need you to cover Son's table, he said, his voice urgent. Just for 5 minutes. Please. My heart dropped into my stomach. Marcus, no. Just water refills. That's it. His eyes were desperate, pleading. Don't even talk. Don't make eye contact. Just go. I have to change my shirt before Richard sees this. Marcus, wait. But he was already gone, disappearing toward the staff locker room. I stood there frozen, staring at that center table. At Mio Son, laughing with men who had no idea what he really thought of them. Every instinct screamed at me to walk away. Find another server. Fake a bathroom emergency. Drop the pitcher and claim I was sick. But I was already holding the crystal water pitcher. My feet were already moving before my brain could catch up. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. Each step toward that table felt heavier than the last. My heart pounded so hard I could hear in my ears, a drumbeat that matched my footsteps on the marble floor. But my hands? Steady. Years of training, both at the State Department and in this restaurant, had taught me how to be terrified on the inside while looking perfectly calm on the outside. My face stayed neutral despite the rage burning in my chest, despite knowing what he was doing, despite understanding every lie. I approached from the side, moving quietly. This was supposed to be my specialty, being there without being noticed. I told myself it would be fine. Pour the water. Walk away. Stay invisible. But the universe had other plans. And so did Mio Son. I reached the table just as Mio Son was in the middle of a story. Something about outsmarting American regulators, getting approvals that should have taken years processed in months. His voice dripped with pride. I moved silently to the first glass. The woman sitting to his right, one of the investor's wives. The pitcher tilted. Water flowed smoothly into crystal. No sound. No splash. Perfect. I shifted to Mio Son's glass. That's when it happened. He leaned back suddenly, gesturing dramatically to emphasize whatever point he was making about his brilliance. His elbow shot out without warning. It hit my arm. The pitcher tilted. Just a few drops, maybe 4 or 5, splashed onto his jacket sleeve. Time stopped. Mio Son froze mid-sentence. His eyes dropped slowly to his sleeve, to the small dark spots spreading across the fabric. Then, deliberately, he turned his head and looked at me. The expression on his face wasn't anger. Not yet. It was disgust. Like I was something dirty he'd accidentally touched. The entire table went silent. His guests stared. The woman's hand flew to her mouth. The investor's smiles vanished. Nearby tables noticed. Conversations died. Forks stopped halfway to mouths. Are you kidding me right now? His voice was low. Dangerous. My training kicked in immediately. I'm so sorry, sir. It was an accident. Let me get. Do you have any idea how much this suit costs? His voice rose, sharp and cutting, slicing to the restaurant like a knife. Every eye in the room turned toward us. I kept my eyes down, kept my voice steady. I sincerely apologize, sir. But inside, something was beginning to crack. This is a custom suit, Mio Son said, his voice dripping with contempt. $25,000. And you just ruined it because you can't even hold a pitcher steady. My face burned. I could feel every eye in the restaurant on me. Out of the corner of my vision, I saw Richard rushing over, panic written across his face. But Mio Son wasn't finished. Look at you. He gestured at me like I was an exhibit. You probably never even finished high school, did you? The words landed like a slap. Couldn't get a real job. So now you're here, carrying plates, spilling drinks, making mistakes that cost more than you earn in a year. His guest shifted uncomfortably. One of the investors looked down at his plate. The woman turned her head away. But Mio Son was enjoying this. I could see it in his eyes. You know what the problem is with people like you? He leaned back, warming to his subject now. There are people in this world who build things, who create value, who change industries and shape the future. He gestured at me dismissively. And then there are people like you, the ones who serve us, the ones who are completely, utterly replaceable. He leaned forward, his voice dropping to something almost intimate, almost threatening. I could have you fired with one phone call, one word to the owner of this place, and you're done. You'll be out on the street looking for another minimum wage job that you'll probably lose because you can't even do something as simple as pour water. Each word hit like a physical blow. For 11 months, I'd swallowed my pride, my intelligence, my voice. I'd stayed silent when people treated me like I was nothing, when they spoke over me, through me, around me like I didn't exist. All those times I should have spoken up. All that rage I'd been holding inside. Something cracked. And then Mio Son made his fatal mistake. He switched to Japanese. Mio Son turned his assistant, his voice shifting to rapid Japanese. He thought I couldn't understand. He was certain of it. Asterisk, Kono wernan o muro. Tabun koko emo satsuji o shidanai. Kono kuwa Amerikajin ro dosha wa mino najida. Namikamonoda, bakada, nakutai rodo shika dekanai. Asterisk. Translation. Asterisk, look at this pathetic woman. Probably a high school dropout. These Black American workers are all the same. Lazy, stupid, only good for manual labor. Asterisk. The assistant looked uncomfortable but nodded slightly. Mio Son continued, warming to his theme. Asterisk, sukunakute emo nyanda wa. Sabisaro dosha wa jiban no ichio shirairu. Koko de wa kara wa sunkase raranayata suru to omat iru. Asterisk, asterisk, at least in Japan. Service workers know their place. Here they think they deserve respect. Asterisk, he laughed, a cruel, dismissive sound. Asterisk, Kanojo watadashi aigoze hanes nai daro. Where noyo nahanto no jengo o rikai suru kodo. Why you made emo nai. Asterisk, asterisk. She probably can't even speak proper English, let alone understand a real language like ours. Asterisk. Something inside me snapped. I set the water pitcher down on the table. Slowly, deliberately, I straightened my shoulders, lifted my chin, and for the first time in 11 months, I looked someone directly in the eyes without fear, without apology, without shame. What Mio Son saw in my face made him pause mid-laugh. It wasn't submission. It wasn't embarrassment. It was rage. I opened my mouth, and when I spoke, my voice was clear and steady. But I didn't speak in English. I spoke in perfect, flawless Japanese. Asterisk, anada wa mashigata mesu. Asterisk, you are mistaken. Mio Son's face went white. His mouth opened slightly, shock replacing smugness. His assistant's eyes went wide. I continued in Japanese, each word precise and deliberate. Asterisk, Watashi wa koko o satsuji oshida dake dewa naku, kaka no temenai hadarita mashida. Sashida nada no sabit no uso oshida mesu. Asterisk, I didn't just graduate high school. I worked for the State Department. And I know every single one of your lies. I continued in Japanese, my voice steady and clear. Asterisk, Watashi wa kakumasho no tsuyuka kindeshida. Nihongo, chugo kugo, kankakugo, Arabiango, Furinsugo, Rashiago, Aigo Ryucho and I Hanashimasu. Asterisk, I was a State Department interpreter. I speak Japanese, Mandarin, Korean, Arabic, French, Russian, and English fluently. Then I switched to English and turned to the American investors. Gentlemen, Before you sign anything with Mr. Son, you should know what he's been saying about you." Both investors leaned forward, suddenly very alert. 10 minutes ago, in Japanese, he told his assistant that once he gets your contract, he'll use Chinese factories instead of American ones. Cut costs by 40%. He said, and I quote, "Stupid Americans only care about the press release." Mio Son's face went from white to bright red. "These are lies. She's making this up." I didn't even look at him. He also discussed using false safety certifications, inflated production timelines, quality controls that don't exist. The Shenzhen facility he mentioned, it has multiple safety violations on record. The projected costs he showed you, inflated by at least 30%. This is, Mio Son started. "Am I?" I turned to him calmly. "Should I continue in Japanese, Mr. Son? Or would you prefer I translate for these gentlemen exactly what you called them 10 minutes ago? Word for word." His mouth opened, closed. Nothing came out. Both investors stood simultaneously. One was already pulling out his phone. The other grabbed his briefcase, his face dark with fury. "We're done here," the first investor said, his voice ice cold. "My lawyers will be contacting you tomorrow morning." The second investor didn't even look at Mio Son. "Consider our investment terminated. Expect a full SEC investigation into everything you presented to us." They walked out without looking back. In that moment, I realized something powerful. The truth doesn't need permission to be spoken. It doesn't need the right credentials or the right job title. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is refuse to stay silent, even when silence feels safer. Especially then, ***. Mio Son sat frozen at the table. The entire restaurant was watching. His assistant quietly gathered his belongings, avoiding eye contact. Richard stood a few feet away, completely frozen, unsure what to do. I looked at Mio Son one last time. "You called me nobody," I said quietly. "You said I was replaceable." I leaned forward slightly. "But the truth is, Mr. Son, I know exactly who you are. I know what you've done. And now, so does everyone else." I turned and walked away from that table. My heart was pounding. My hands were shaking. But my head was held high. For the first time in 11 months, I wasn't invisible. I wasn't nobody. I was myself again. I stopped being a ghost that night. I stopped hiding. And I learned that sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is the one everyone thinks is powerless. Because we have nothing left to lose and everything to say.